that I could, and fun ways that I could start incorporating and living it out like on social media. So I'll be happy to share whatever I come up with with everyone.
That would be great. And
Yeah.
you've
That's
already
awesome.
started that, Turia, by
Yeah.
doing your 30 and 45 seconds. Those are so inspirational. You on the plank position and talking to us, that was awesome. So
Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Okay. So more cool stuff coming.
And what I want everybody to do is get in the habit of checking the Trello board, because we're going to start posting the posts that we come up with on the Trello board, so people will have examples of posts. And,
Oh,
and
awesome.
also really wanting to force everybody to use the system. We're going to be habit building.
Yes.
Awesome. Great job, Turia. And I'm enjoying watching the buzz in your group, and like Anila, the post you, and looking good.
Thank you. So I'm looking forward to doing more of it. I'm getting excited.
Yeah, yeah.
Looking good, looking strong, and it's so attractive and it's so contagious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. We're gonna start living out loud. So
Yeah, living out loud. That's what stood out for me. Okay, we gotta live this thing out loud.
Oh, I like that. I got to get this out of my system. Fazia, did you have a new hairdo when you came on? Was it?
Oh, I just had my hair up in a clip, and I just opened it. I realized it was all up, and I was like, oh, looks weird.
You were showing off the face. It was a good look. Okay, but it was different.
Oh,
I did check. I did.
Really?
yeah.
I don't usually keep it up. I usually have it open, but okay, thanks, guys.
No, up was working. Okay.
Yeah, Fazia, count on Anthony.
Yeah, sometimes the guy comes to the surface.
Maybe I need to just take a short break and come back with a different hairstyle.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I spent time with my mentee, and so he had been gone for a month, and so Melvin and I had been accountability partners before, and so we know what it feels like to just fade away from each other. And it's nothing personal. It's just sometimes life will just life. And so I was feeling pretty proud that I didn't let that happen. I just checked in, and I'm doing more checking in with people, even though I'm not closer to developing the kind of clients I want. I have some people getting some products, and I still have the people that, hey, order that for me and I'll come by, pick it up kind of thing. And I can't get them to, you can get them to send it to you. So I'm working through all that kind of stuff. And I'm just, it's a continual effort to, you just said something, Suzanne. We're going to continue to develop the habit. Mm-hmm. That's what I feel is missing is the habit of making a list of who I'm going to call the next day, have that in place so that when I get to the period so when I get in the habit of sitting down at my work period, I already know who I'm going to call. Those are the things that it's taking all this time to go, if you don't, like you wouldn't show up to the fire department late. Why are you showing up to your business late? And you wouldn't show up without a list of things that you're going to do when you get there. I mean, you're going to check your equipment. You're going to put your personal equipment on the rig. You're going to go through every compartment on the rig to make sure everything is supposed to be there. And I find I don't do that in this business. I just I'll get to it. I'll get to it, and things, I'll get one thing done, won't get the other thing done, and things. I downloaded Think and Grow Rich, but I didn't read it. That kind of stuff and things, so.
Thank you. And thank you for your honesty. So how many of you find you're kind of playing the same game as Anthony?
Yeah, I
can relate.
Sure, Anthony, I can relate.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So.
Who's jumping out? Go ahead, Melvin.
I was just going to say, Anthony, on that, I had some customers too I delivered to.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a couple of them to go on and get their own site now. And the way I did it was I said, hey, Isagenix don't even require you to pay the $29. And since all this stuff is going on and people don't want to be traveling, you can get it to come to your house for free now. You don't even have to pay the $29. All you got to do is just go on my site and just sign up and save. And they did it.
Okay,
So,
I'll give that a try.
so, you know, it worked out really good. So I just wanted to share that with you. I had 2 of them do it last week. I'm working on 1 more.
Yeah, I'm going to be egotistical, and I'm right now haven't eliminated the thought that, you know, it's their excuse to see me.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't eliminated that thought, but I would definitely use that. And to finish up, I got a major. Sometimes we got these little bitty things in our way in the back of the head. I had never, when my mother died 30 years ago, I never purchased a headstone. And it's just been sitting back there, and it's just debris. And so I finally sit down and in the middle of all this stuff wrote down to do whatever it has to do and chase down whatever it has to do and call up the siblings that are still alive and just told them this is where I'm at. My twin brother decided to step in, you know, we got that out the way. And it's amazing that it was like, you know, it was just in things, and I didn't realize there was stuff attached to that. Mm-hmm. You know, as simple as that is. And so I'm now wondering, okay, how much other stuff, little debris do I have circling around back there that I need to pull out, solve the problem so that I can move forward, so I can have these kinds of conversations. I mean, I'm getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, y'all. I mean, it's got to count. A check needs to start showing up in things to verify, you know, because that's the measurement of the effectiveness of being involved in this. So it's not just, it's just not talk. It's just not, you know, I'm coming on this call just because I don't have nothing else to do at 5 a.m. in the morning. You know, gag me with no. So it's,
Can I add something?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Okay, so I can totally relate to what you're saying, Anthony, and that stuff that's in the background, like you said, bring it forward and let's solve it and get it done. Sometimes you don't even need to do that. Sometimes it's just about acknowledging that that stuff is there is enough for you to be able to move on. Sometimes what happens is that stuff is just put back there, but we know unconscious, like subconsciously, you know that it's there, but because you haven't actually allowed it to come to surface and just acknowledged that it's there, it's that like a string that, you know, a chain that hasn't allowed you to propel forward. But sometimes it's not about bringing it forward and dealing with it and fixing it or anything. It's just about acknowledging that it's there, and that in itself is enough to let you move forward. I'm just speaking from personal experience because I can totally relate to the kind of stuff you're saying about that stuff and holding on to it.
The first chapter is going to solve that too.
I'm going to build on this, right? Because there's 2 types of stuff, right? So there's the stuff that requires action, and then there's the stuff that's emotional or past or historic or whatever. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes we'll say, well, when I figure this stuff out, why this happened in my family, I will be able to move on. That's the stuff that Fozzie is talking about. You don't have to figure it out. You have to acknowledge, it's required to acknowledge it and move. It's almost acknowledge it, package it, and move. Then there's stuff like the headstone, that every time you think of it, it sucks your energy. And that's what it does. It sucks energy, right? It's the stuff like incomplete paperwork, incomplete filings, incomplete, I got a room half painted. I started a project but didn't finish it and it's sitting in the middle of my house. Those things, every time you go past it, it will suck your energy because your mind goes incomplete. Oh my God, nah, right? Those are the things that we can actually do something about and have completion. But there's things that we tell ourselves that until I figure this out, I can't move. Well, we can't go back into our past and figure everything out. So there's certain things that we got to just acknowledge and say, you know what, I gotta put this somewhere. I got to do something, and I'm going to move in even with although this happened, even though all those things. So it's two very different pieces, and you've got to, and it's figuring out which one's what. Does that make sense? So the second thing I want to say to you is the habit, right? And we'll talk about in Napoleon Hill. We'll talk about the habits of success, right? The habits of success is one of the biggest reasons people move this business forward or don't. And what's beautiful about what you're saying, Anthony, is you're recognizing that you have got to put in place some habits. So for me, Sunday night or first thing Monday morning, it's usually early Monday morning, I plan my week and I go, this is what I'm going to get done this week. And every night in the week before I go to bed, I plan the next day. I don't go into the next day without a plan, because when I try to move without a plan, it's crazy, it's chaotic. I end up doing nothing but moving, spinning my wheels, all that stuff. When I go into the day, no problem, with a plan, right? I'm intentional. So it's and you're absolutely right. Imagine going to the fire without having prepared your equipment, without having gotten, made sure you had everything, checked the truck. You would feel chaotic, right? That's a scary thought. Well, it's the same thing in our business. It's a scary thought to try and go into a business day with no plan. Go into your week of business without a plan. Cool? Great share. I love it. Thank you. Great insights. And I think the other thing is it's a process. Remember, habits are not, and they say habits are built in 21 days. I say that that's not true.
No, I agree.
Habits take as long as they take to build.
Now, they said to change a habit, you can change it in 21 days.
Yeah. I don't think so. Because all you have to do is have a shift in your emotional state and you'll see how changed that habit is.
Oh, yeah.
If that was true, people who went on diets for 30 days would have change.
Exactly.
Right? So it's way different. It's a longer process than what they say. We might be aware that we've got to do something in 21 days, and it may come to our conscious state in 21 days. But the thing is, the minute life shifts, the minute emotions get higher, the minute anything different happens, you will see how well ingrained your habit is, right? Put in place a new habit and be on day 30 and then have your life go into a tailspin and you'll go back to the old way, because that is stronger than what you just created. So it's until no emotion rocks it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Joe Dispenza got a new thing out, and it's called Rewiring the Brain. And what he says is that the brain has all this stuff in it, and then you got the body, and then you got the emotions, like you said. And when the brain goes back into thinking about all those old things, then those emotions come up, which you got to change that by the actions that you take right now. And that's kind of what I got out of the first chapter too, even though it pissed me off, but that's what I got out of it.
All right.
Oh my gosh, you're so funny, Melvin.
Say what?
You're so funny.
It did piss me off. I'll tell you why. I got my 17-year-old going to get this book, and I did not like what he said about the little black girl. And it's like, I got to explain this to her, So anyway, that's what pissed me off.
I don't know if I have that in my
thing I just wanted to add with the stuff that's first, it's good. But when I hear Anthony and Melvin, I get to feel like a little kid, just looking up at the people you want to be when you grow up. Just the way that you guys lay things out and explain it. It's it brings some joy. It really does. It reminds me of, you know, when I was young and looking up at some of the other guys who had been there where you want to get to. And it's not, and it's more attitudinal than it is the things, accomplishments, right? Because I think before accomplishments, it's attitude. And so it's fun for me to look up, from my perspective, to feel like a little kid looking up at the attitudes that you guys have and how you deal with it, and even how you talk about it. So that was the first thing. So I feel like a little kid today. But then the other one is the stuff that's in the back of the mind, right? I think, yeah, there's stuff that you don't have to do anything. I think there's, the one thing you have to do is acknowledge it, that it's there, but to know that you're okay now. And that has always, for me, made the difference, because a lot of stuff has happened and it's there, and it's bothering to me. It bothers me because it being there has me feeling like I gotta, something needs to adjust. And I think the thing, a lot of times it's not that something needs to adjust. I think you need to recognize it and say, but I'm okay. And I think if you can see that this thing happened back then, I've been hit so many times, but I'm here. And to me, the fact that you're here, if you can acknowledge that I'm here and I'm going forward, I think that's a lot. That is doing something, and it's doing something significant. It may not feel like it, but I think it unblocks a lot of things. Just the acknowledgement that I've been through this, I'm here, okay, I'm gonna go forward now. And that's how I've always dealt with those things, and it for me, it's helped me tremendously. So just thought, and for Fazia, just because of Fazia, I'm gonna send out a couple of health things today, just because of you.
Yay, Fawn! And,
Awesome.
and you know, one of the things in terms of what Hayden said is there's power in being here, right? There's power in surviving. And I think the step I also do is I ask myself, what have I learned? Because no matter what happens, there's a lesson. And I tell myself the blessing is the lesson. So bad stuff can happen. The blessing is the lesson. And so for me, if I take away nothing else, it's the lesson. And the lesson could be never doing that again. The lesson could be someone showed me who they were and I need to accept it. The lesson could be that I needed to be more prepared. There's always a lesson, and the gift is the growth, the lesson, the opportunity to become more, the opportunity to become different. And it's not about going and changing anything. It's about, I've survived it. What can I take from it? Right? Then everything's worthwhile, no matter what it is. Everything has a blessing in it. So great share. Okay, so we're going to talk about two things today, and they go hand in hand. So one of the things I wanted to do was, when we do a Super Saturday, all the stuff that's taught in the Super Saturday, between the one Super Saturday and the other, we are going to cover it. So today we're going to talk about vision, and we're going to talk about the first chapter or the first two, the first chapter of Think and Grow Rich. And how many of you actually got to read the book? I got the book, read it. Yes?
I
Okay.
just read the first chapter.
Still reading. I'm not finished with it, but I'm still reading.
Okay, so
I thought we were reading it as a group activity.
we're going to talk about it as a group activity, huh?
Oh, so just start reading. Make it happen. Huh?
I thought we were supposed to read chapter 1. Is that?
Yeah, that's what I felt too. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's done. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a couple different audios available though. Like I downloaded 2 different audio versions.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of them followed exactly as my book, and then the other one had probably about half an hour before my book started, and it was like a new chapter 1 and another chapter had been renamed, and so I have 2 versions, but I'm following the one that I can follow in my book.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of them out there, right? So you got to go. You really want the one by the Napoleon Hill Foundation, like you want, or just the original. You can get the original that's updated.
In every chapter of this book, mention has been made of the money-making secret.
Yeah. Good one, Anthony.
So, so we're gonna work through them, and part of the reason is this book is life-changing as far as business and life in general. It will shift the way you think, and it'll give you a lot of your blind spots. It'll give you things that you want to work on, no matter what business we're talking about. I love it because it puts responsibility for success right at your doorstep. Your success does not belong to anybody else. No matter where you come from, no matter what happened, no matter how advantaged or disadvantaged you are, no matter what color you are, no matter what gender you are, it does not matter. What I love about this book is that the formula for success is the formula for success. Male, female, I know Napoleon Hill talks about men in the book because that was the time of the day, but it applies equally to women. And it really is around the mindset of success, the mindset of wealth versus the mindset of poverty. And for me, when I read this, oh my gosh, 20 years ago, maybe about 18 years ago, what it really shifted for me was that wealth was a mindset and poverty was a mindset, and it had nothing to do with money. It had to do with abundance or lack of. And for me, that was the game changer. So I could have a wealth mindset and have nothing in my bank account. I could have a poverty mindset and have stuff in my bank account. And so it began to really shift things for me. But what it also shifted is before success happens, this has to align with where I'm going. And for a lot of people, they're going after success. They're going after shifting their income, but this has not aligned. So this is why reading this book is so key. Cool?
Ooh.
All right. So, and I want to do the first 2 chapters with vision. So we're going to talk a little bit about vision today, and because they kind of go hand in hand, because he's talking about the power of thought, and your vision is the power of thought. And everything we desire begins with the power of thought. And so people who know me know I pay a lot of attention to language. There's certain words I don't use. There's certain words I don't let people use around me. There's certain things I don't let people say to me. And there's sometimes really simple, but I'm like, do not put that thought out there and do not put that thought in front of me. I don't want that thought around me. Because when I read this book, I understood how powerful thought is. And not just my thought, but the thoughts of people who spend time with me, how they shift and create. So Tria and I have had a few conversations about who can pray for me and who can't. Because I'm like, no, don't put those words out when you pray for me, right? So I'm very conscious, and I want you guys to be very conscious of the power of thought in terms of what you're thinking and in terms of what you're in action with people. What are they saying to you? Because that's whatever they're saying to you began with a thought, and they're engaging you in that thought. So So I want to talk about just hear what you guys are getting from the book, but I want, as we do so, I'm going to come back to vision, but I want you guys to think about that in order to be powerful in this business, believe it or not, it has very little to do with the product. The product is the tool that we use. The product is the tool, the thing that we sell. The product is the thing that we market. But in order to market something to someone, we have to have a vision, a picture, a thought of where we're taking them. That's why living out loud is way more important than the products. And if you understand this, things can shift for you like this. Because if you are getting exceptional at painting pictures of where you're going, where the company's going, where you're taking people, where someone can arrive, they will buy that because they don't buy the product. They purchase the product. They have a transaction around the product, but they buy an idea, a thought, a vision that the product will allow them to get to. That's why this stuff is so important. Cool? So we all are going to be required to go, where am I going? Where am I taking people? Where is this company going? Where does this company take people? Where can I help this person get? And does where I help this person get align with where I'm going? You can't take anybody somewhere that you're not going on this journey. They're hooking their wagon to your wagon because their vision is caught up in yours. That's how it works. And you can't convince someone of a vision. You can articulate a vision, a thought, and people go, oh my gosh, that is so similar to mine. I see myself in your thought. I see myself in your vision. I see myself inside of that. So if I hook up with you, I will get where I want. So when you're living out loud and people see you living your life, they're like, that's the life I want. I need to check this person out. If you're in the closet, people are like, I can't see what you're doing. I can't see what you're up to. As far as I'm concerned, you have no vision. You're trying to sell me a product. Do you hear the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So from that, chapter 1, Power of Thoughts, what did you guys get?
You know, I like that he started off with the power of thought and he linked it. So I took, some notes. And one of the things that I wrote down that stood out for me is first, know what you want, right? So like, that's the biggest thing. Okay. So do you clearly, like you said, have the vision, right? And be specific in your vision, be specific in your thoughts. So do you know clearly what is it that you're going after? And then know that you're the master of your faith. I'm the master of my faith. And my actions will always come forth from the things that I think about. And it's like a real subtle but very powerful thing, because as I read and then I started to, examine myself, I take a look at some thoughts that I have, and when I have the thoughts, like I shrink back, right? Because I think they're too big, right? And then I look at my actions and I was just like, oh, that's what's blocking me from doing this, is because I haven't really fully come into alignment, with the desire behind of that thought. So that was like my eye opener for me, like being in alignment with the thought, and then, oh, okay. Because I mean, it's so interesting because as I was reading, I looked at different things that I've been doing, you know, in my life, not just on this journey, but before. So why is it some things I could tell myself like, hey, I'm gonna do this, and then it like automatically, it seems like it automatically happens, right? And then other things, when I'm looking at it now, it's just like, why is this such a struggle, right? To do X, you know, Y, Z. And I realize is like, oh, somewhere, you know, behind there, things aren't in alignment as yet.
Yeah. And so, you know, what's beautiful about what you're saying is when I think of my vision in its totality, it inspires me and scares me at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'm like, I have no idea how to get there. You know, and I've been on this journey for a while and I'm still like, I don't know. But this is how you get out of your fear. The reason remember, if you work with me, 100 goals,
Mm-hmm.
and we dial it back, because you may not be able to see the end, but you can see the first steps.
Mm-hmm.
And the first steps aren't as scary, right? So if I said to you, in order to hit your goal, you have to have 10,000 people in your team, you all would be like, what? I'm out, right? But if I said just focus on let's getting you to one cycle,
Mm-hmm.
which is 10 people ordering 900 points, right? A total of 900 points, 100 points each. Do you see how that becomes doable? And then you go, okay, so you're going to get to one cycle, you're going to get to 2 cycles, and you're going to get to 3 cycles, and you're going to get to 4 cycles. Well, 36 cycles gives you your $100,000. So it's not, so part of it is knowing where you're going, right, and being inspired and awed and quite afraid of it, but then going, where do I start? It's the start that makes the difference. So can you see the start?
Mm.
The one step that you can take to start. That's the first part. The second thing, and you'll learn this later on, is when you cast vision that scares you, also know that you'll never get there on your own.
Mm.
So you never have to have all the answers. You actually just have to have the vision. And this for me was a game changer. So I just have to have the vision. I actually don't even need to know the how. So if you work with me, you know, I tell people how's none of your business, mm-hmm, right? But there's a bunch of people that know the how. You just got to find them. So how do I do social media? None of my business. Work with Taria. She'll just tell me what to do. I don't even have to understand it. How do I get some writing done? I don't know. Call Anila. That's what she does. How do I do this? Call someone else. How do I do that? Call this person. How do I brand my business? Call Lethea. So I don't have to know the how. I just have to go, what do I need to get here? You guys get it? Mm-hmm. And then there's certain hows that you are going to be required to learn, but they aren't as much as needed. So think about it. Well, how do I get to 6 figures? Well, I don't have to figure out how on my own. I need to figure out how do I get 10 people who get 10 customers. Okay. Cool?
Mm-hmm. And one last thing that I also wanted to say about reading the book, as I think this is my second time reading it, but I'm reading it like with a different lens, you know, at this point, because I think I read it like probably 6 or 7 years ago, right? I think what I'm seeing now is a deeper state of awareness. Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's almost like crazy. Okay. Because it forces you to pay attention to things that you might not have seen right? Like opportunities. And so that's always my question. Is like, do opportunities come and go away, or are they always there and we just can't see them? Right? So it's just one of those things, because I'm going through a specific instance like right now since I started reading this book. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I had to catch, like, it would have passed me. A matter of fact, I don't even know if I would have recognized it have I not been present to it. But last night, as I was reading, it was just like, oh my gosh, this is it, you know? So I've been, you know, I said out loud that I was going to do something. I made a commitment, right? And when I made this commitment, like, I had no idea like how it was going to get done, but I know it's something that I want to do, right? And something so strange happened this weekend. It's like I saw something, and it's like it just was a glimpse. Like I saw something online and it was just like a glimpse, and I bypassed it. And then it came back to me again yesterday. And I said, oh, let me go ahead and check it out. And so as I went ahead and I checked it out, it was actually what was needed for me to do what I said I was going to do last week, what I committed to do last week. And I just had to sit and I'm like, wow. I wonder how many times like we have these things, like these occurrences and these instances, and we're just not present to them, you know, and they pass us like all the time. So it's like a deeper state of consciousness now, like is being intentional with the thought, right? And then just like, oh, just looking at everything and then seeing how things, you know, fit or how they come into play. So that was my experience since, you know, reading.
That's brilliant. And the answer is it's always there. We're just not in tuned with it. It's always there. That's the crazy thing. Always there. And so I can't tell you how many vacations I've been on just because I put it on conscious thought. I can't tell you, even if I told you the story of my car and how someone else went and got my car, bid at an auction, got me the exact car that was on my dream board, conscious thought.
Right.
My house, conscious thought. My house was sold and I told them it was my house. I called my house. And if the sale fell through, my house. Conscious thought, right? So part of it is remember I said you want to be careful what people say around you.
Yeah.
People do around you. Is thoughts align? Right? We pull stuff. We tune into what we focus on. Right? Yes. So it's almost like when you start managing your thoughts become like heat-seeking. It will find that thing. So that's why they say luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Preparation is the stuff we do in our mind. Opportunity is always there, and we magnetize it. We attract it. It's always there. You just don't see it because there's no reason for you to. Yeah. That's why this work is so important. So one of the things you guys want to write down is, who am I looking for? And I will say to you, if you go back to the presentation, you look at what are the values that Isagenix has, you'll start to see, who am I looking for? And you might want to add some yourself. So I have integrity. I have someone who has a burning desire, because I got this out of Think and Grow Rich. So almost everything I've learned in Think and Grow Rich, I'm like, that's who I'm looking for. But I have it top of mind. So when I run into those people, I see them.
Yeah.
And they don't often look the way I thought. And they're not people who need to lose weight. They're not people who are maybe athletic. They're people who have the character of success. Who am I looking for? Most people, when they start Isagenix, they look for all the people who are overweight, out of shape, that need their help. Who can I go rescue? If you go rescue people, you'll be rescuing them forever. But if you look for people who have the character traits of success, and you know who you're looking for, remember, a vision and idea of who you're looking for, you'll start to see them and meet them. And they'll start to call you.
Yeah.
Like I just did a lunch date with someone on Friday, 4-hour lunch date. The woman called me on the phone. I've never met her before. She left me a voicemail and said, I was on Facebook. I don't know. I was on the internet. I don't know how I came across your website and your profile, but I read it and decided I have to meet this person. Now get this, because you're doing a retreat and I want to do a retreat and I want to do it the way you do it.
Nice.
Now you see that?
Yeah.
She had an idea. I've been out there for 4 years now, but now she has an idea and she's looking, and somehow she pulled me into, so we met for lunch. She has almost every character trait I'm looking for. And this woman is driven, like hungry, crazy driven, like scary driven. And so we're going to continue conversation, and we're having conversations about collaborations. I'm going to get to know her. I want to know more about her character, but just by knowing, she's got a lot of the traits. Now, does she need to lose weight? A little bit, but not really. Is she interested in weight loss? No, but she's interested in a retreat to make people healthy.
You know, one of the things that I got from it was kind of the first line talked about definite of purpose, which is in the other book that he wrote too, but it just blanked out this time. And to me, that was the whole key, that if I have a definite of purpose, then all those things come evolved. And that's what has kind of happened in my life. I like the stories that he do. You know, the little girl that I tell you pissed me off about that story. But one of the things about her was the wrath of her mom was probably more than the wrath of that guy. And she was not going to go home without that 50 cents, you know, and they couldn't figure out why. And that's a lot of things in my life, is trying to figure it out instead of trying to have that purpose of what I want and then continue to create. I also like the guy that was working with Edison, you know, and how he had an aspiration to be with this guy and create with this guy. And then the next thing you know, he's doing it. Not in the way that he thought he was going to do it, but he did it, you know. And you know, it's like in 1937, you know, when the text was created around the 1930s, I always kind of go back, hey, my dad was such and such an age. I wonder what he was doing. And, you know, and I know that with definiteness of purpose, if I miss this cycle in my life, then it comes back around, you know, and that's why I used to always like hanging out with old guys, you know. They taught me a lot of bad lessons, but they taught me a lot of good lessons too. And, you know, one of the things I really, really like about this book is, even though it was published in 1937 or around that time, this stuff still applies to now.
Big time.
Like life lessons that always apply.
Mm-hmm.
Not only with this, because there's so much I could talk about on this, and we got a lot of people in. But, you know, things come to you when you get ready. And how I get ready is having a definiteness of purpose. Right now, my definiteness of purpose is wanting to leave my grandchildren something that they can build on, you know, and that's one of my visions, you know, and it's really clearer than it's ever been in my life. And then the other thing is that I was looking at something, and they said we have two brains. One is the brain, you know, our regular brain, but there's a brain in our digestive system also. Mm-hmm. And then Friday, right after I watched that, I was looking at Napoleon Hill's last talk, one of his last talks. And he says, when you eat, make sure you're in a peaceful way, because what you eat and the digestion is going to create your thoughts. And it's like, oh man, now I thought I only had one brain. Now you're giving me two. You know, my brothers would say, you might have two, but you're still not using them. But anyway, and I didn't believe that then, and I don't believe it now. But you know, it's really cool. This stuff is really, really cool. And I'm glad I got my 17-year-old granddaughter starting to read this. And we'll talk about that passage at Calvary. It might not even bother her, but we'll get a chance to discuss that too. So I'm glad I'm here. And you know, writing down goals, to me, the pen is a spiritual tools. I can have them in my head, but when I put them down, even if I can't read them when I go back sometime, it changes things.
It does, big time, big time. I love definitive purpose, and I think it is the key to everything. It's each of us is, and definitive purpose is vision, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So every one of us needs definite of purpose, singular focus. And when I think of definitive purpose, one of the person that always comes to mind is Harriet Tubman. Right? Imagine the definitive purpose this woman had to do what she achieved. Right? There's certain people that when you think of definitive purpose, it's like so clear, and they defy all odds, and they get what they want. But Harriet Tubman, she's like definitive purpose to me. Right? No one can go back and free those slaves. She's like, oh yes, I can. I'm going. Right? So imagine you having a level of definitive purpose that moves you beyond your fears, as Tree is saying, beyond the odds, beyond your circumstances, beyond your habits, beyond. That's the first step. Anyone else? What'd you get?
Okay, I read the chapter, and of course I read the introduction. And in the introduction, it actually emphasized how important it is to read it chapter by chapter. And I was like, oh, just like the way we're doing it. One of the things that felt familiar to me was, for example, when the guy that wanted to work for Thomas Edison, the way he did it. And I said, well, that's the right thing to do it. And then the other guy that was trying to find the gold mine, and then he ends up being this insurance salesperson. I'm terrible with names, by the way, that's why I'm not mentioning names. It showed that all he had to do is just talk it out one more time, and maybe with an expert. And then he would have found out that the gold mine was really there. One of the things that I felt with that example was, how do you know when to ask an expert? And then how do you know that that expert is giving you the right advice? Because, and I'm not challenging the chapter, but in life experiences, when I moved to America, the first thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to either go to school to become a diplomat or go to school to be a news anchor. So that was where my two. And by the time I was 29, by the time that I could pay for school, and I asked two experts, and they both gave me the wrong advice. So how do you discern that? How do you make that decision? And what was the advice? Oh, they said you're too old for either profession.
Okay, good.
You're too old. We don't think you can do that. And the truth of the matter is, then in January of 2018, one of my dear friends, who knows Kate Snow. Kate Snow is the chief correspondent for the political with NBC News, and she's actually the news anchor for Sunday. A big woman. She actually talked with me, and I was, I think, 45. She's like, Anita, you're fine. Just do it. And she gave me, but at 45, she said, go for it. At 29, 2 experts in Cleveland told me not to go for it. So it's like we have to be conscious to maybe talk to our gut, just like Melvin was saying. What is also our gut? And maybe it's with our purpose, just to like go a little deeper and find the person that is going to say yes to us and not sit with the. So I guess my growth was, I'm never going to take no for an answer. And I'm going to find the person that's going to say yes to me. And those are the people that I'm going to lock arms with.
Mm-hmm.
And our today's session is highly powerful, at least for me. Like I am receiving it at a very, very high level where I want to receive it, like at a high level. Whatever you've been sharing and everyone has been sharing, it almost hits home, you know, whether with the power of our thoughts. What are you thinking? Who is next to you? What are their energy and their alignments doing to your own alignment and to your own energy? So it's very powerful. I love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And you know, you bring up such a great point in terms of who do we listen to in terms of experts. And I'm always mindful of experts. I'm going to you for your skill set. I'm not going to you for your opinion of whether I can or cannot do something. And so for me, I'm always mindful of this. And if someone tells me I can't do something, I want to know why. And age has nothing to do with skill. Age has nothing to do with talent. That's not a good enough reason. So if someone tells me I can't do something, I'm like, why not? And it's got to be a reason. And if I can overcome that reason, I'm on. So I think part of it is, you know, is being really mindful of who do you go for what, and what are you truly asking them, right? Like, why are you sitting in front of this person? Or what is their expertise? Because I can tell you, many experts have told me that I wasn't good enough, I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't talented enough, I wasn't skilled enough. And I could take that, but that's not why I'm here. I'm asking you, how do I get this? Just answer the question. I've been told to tell people, like, just answer the question. I'm not interested in that. Just answer this question. And if you can, I'll find someone else who can. What are you going to them for? Because, and I think part of it is, one of it has to do with our own self-worth, and one of it has to do with information. Do you hear the difference? So I have to come to the table with definite purpose, and definite purpose means I am going to do this no matter what. Why I'm in front of you is for skill or information. I'm in front of you for a how. Do you guys see the difference? Great.
Yeah. I was
Can I
just
add
about to
something
say,
to that?
oh, I'm sorry, Faz. Let me just say real quick. All right, rule of thumb, right? Never take advice from someone who starts off with "you can't." Next.
That's so true. I was just gonna say, and thanks for bringing that up, Anila, because it really hit home with me too. I think what I've learned is it's first about, depending on how much or how bad I really want it, that determines who I go to for advice. So if I really want something, and like, I'm not looking for an opinion, like, do you think I should go for this? You know, because then I'm going to go to different people. But if I really want something, those people that say, oh, well, this is what the challenge is, this is the hurdle, this is the reason you can't, I'm not even interested in what they have to say. But I think first, before we can get to whether or not what someone says will affect us, is looking at how much is that desire burning inside of us. Because even when I've had someone tell me I can't do something, that desire, that burning feeling is still there. Like, no, this is what I really want to do. And so you almost just look for anything that will support you in that. So anything that doesn't support that for me, I'm not even interested in looking at it. And the opinions are there, and that's exactly like what Suzanne's saying. But I found like when I've had an idea and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, but maybe this would be nice, I will talk to people who may talk me out of it. And that would be my excuse for not doing it.
Oh,
But with that burning desire, I don't care what those people say.
that is good. That is good. That was money right there. Thank you. Who else? What'd you get?
I find it interesting about who you talk to and what you get. And if you look at him, he failed, and then he was ultimately successful. And maybe the person who steered you wrong or gave you bad advice is something that you needed to go through to get to your ultimate goal. And I find a lot of times, even in my life, I feel like I'm going after this thing. Or better yet, I think I know the way to get to, I feel like I know this is the way to get to where I want to get to. And so I'm trudging down the path as hard as I can. And people keep knocking me off the path. And then somehow I wound up on another path. But when I got knocked off the path that I was on, and I wound up on a different path, I got to the goal. I look at the man and I said, you know, a couple of things could happen. If he had gotten that goal right away, he might have blown it in 3 weeks. Because there were some lessons he hadn't learned to be successful with the goal.
Just so I'm clear, who's he?
Oh, I like what you're saying, Hayden. You're talking about the guy that was digging for gold?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
I love where you're going with this.
Yeah. So I guess ultimately, to make it short, what we think as failure and a miss is not always a miss and a failure. And so even as I looked at the story, at first I felt sorry for the man. Oh my God, like he missed gold by 3 feet. Oh, jeez. And then I looked at him, and the guy became ultimately extremely successful. But to me, it seemed like he was almost happier when he ended up successful, but not in the way he thought he would get there. And even in Sue's thing, she said the gift may show up, but not in the package you expected it to show up in. And a lot of times, we think we're looking at the package and expecting, oh my God, this wasn't what I was looking for. So it wasn't the package that you expected it in. And a lot of time we feel like this ain't working because it's not how I thought it would come. Maybe his thing wasn't to get the goal. Maybe his thing was to be successful. Maybe that was his life lesson, was how to be successful. And I don't think success is ever a straight path.
It never is.
You always have to stub your toe. Someone always has to say no to you. You always have to fall down, and then you have to get up. And then when you've gone through all of those things, then success really means something to you. Then you understand how to hold and keep it.
Absolutely. There's a distinction that is so key in what you're saying. Does anybody know what it is?
I don't know if this is what you're going for, but can I add something just in that point? So what I got from what you were saying, Hayden, was, in order for us to receive, we have to prepare ourselves to be the person to receive. And I thought where you were going was, he wasn't the person prepared to receive that gold until, years later, he had become a different person through his hard work and effort, and he had prepared himself to receive that abundance. That's what I got.
And that is true. But also, yeah, you're right. But also, what seemed like failure was really just preparation. It wasn't his destination, I guess. It wasn't his destination. That searching for the goal was really part of his journey to
Of becoming the person to receive.
Yes.
Yes.
And
yes.
so So sometimes we get the journey mixed up with the destination, for lack of a better analogy.
Absolutely. Still a distinction for all of that to work. And the distinction is way important.
Okay, so I was just about to say.
Go ahead.
No, so I was just about to say, for me, what stands out in the story is like Melvin just said, right? The the persistence. Okay, so even though you start out on the journey and you say, hey, that this is what I'm going after, this is, you know, what I think is necessary for me to be successful, right? And you might have that in your mind, and then it doesn't work, right? You just don't throw your hands up and say, oh, it didn't work, so I'm a failure, or that particular thing didn't work. He was persistent, right? So he missed the 3 feet, you know, from goal, but he didn't quit. You know, he shifted and was persistent and became successful in something else. So that's how
There's still a distinction.
Right.
There's
So
something.
what I'm also getting out of this is his desire was really strong, and it wasn't about how he was going to achieve it. It was because he did achieve it, and it was about the why. You know, why was this important to him, and why did he continue to have a strong desire to get to that point? It wasn't, the how didn't work the way he thought the how was going to work.
Mm-hmm.
It just happened to be that his desire and his commitment and his definite of purpose was on a continual basis.
Yeah. Still something.
Okay, so another part of the analogy for me is the same. I know there were times when I prayed for things. Like, for example, I would pray, you know, God, I need a car. God. And the car never came. What I didn't realize was, and I think what God saw, it's not that you needed a car. What you needed to do was to get to work comfortably. And even though I kept praying for a car, God was answering the why. He was giving me the why I was asking for the car. He didn't give me the car, but he gave me the reason I needed the car. So maybe I needed to get to work, or maybe I needed to get to school. So somebody would always drive me to school, right? So I don't know if I'm making it clear.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, very clear. Very clear.
So you're asking for something, but if you want, for me, God knew why, and he answered the why. For other people, maybe it's maybe subconsciously you're asking for this consciously, but your subconscious understands that there's something bigger, that it's not just this thing. And who knows? God knows, if he had given me a car, maybe I would have crashed it in 3 weeks. I don't know. But I didn't want the car. What I needed to do was to get to work, and he always provided a way for me to get to work, right? So that eliminated the car that I was looking for. So I don't know if that's, and I kind of took that away from it too, is that sometimes you're asking and you think you want something, and you think you want this thing because this thing will get you your ultimate whatever. And so you're so determined to get this thing, but life is giving you not the thing, but your ultimate whatever. And so with this guy, like I just, at the end of the day, this man he was probably way more successful than he ever imagined. And he enjoyed the ride. To me, he probably enjoyed the ride a heck of a lot more than had he gotten the goal the next day. And that's how I look at it.
So I'm gonna
Can I just add one more thing?
Yeah.
I think it's also important to know what you want and to hold on to that knowing of what your desire is to get to that place. Don't give up. Be persistent in what you want and what your vision is for that, and then keep going.
Perfect. So I'm going to give you guys, I'm going to bring this back to Isagenix for a moment. Okay. So what the guy wanted was not gold. He wanted success, right? What people want is not a shake. They want whatever vision they have for themselves. Oftentimes we're trying to give them the shake, but that's not what they want. Do you guys get this? They want whatever vision it is. Mobility, freedom, lifestyle. That's what they want. Now understand, there's 25 million paths to get to where they want. So the question is our path the one for them? Oftentimes we act like our path is the only path because we're focused on what our shakes, our product can do. Our path is not the only path. So the distinction is, who am I? This is the key I want you to get. Who am I? Am I your guide as you walk down this path to your vision? Do I show up in a way that has you believe I'm your guide? Does that make sense? The path. So he thought it was, I'm gonna get there, I'm gonna get success through gold. Gold was not the answer for him. His success came through insurance. But the vision, the definite place he was going to was what the question that needed to be answered, as Hayden was saying, right? I need to get to work safely. That's the definite purpose. But it isn't. It's I need to provide for my family and I need to this, that's the definite. Do you guys get it? So the other distinction I want you guys to get was that when he didn't get the gold, he could have been angry about not getting the gold, poor me about not getting the gold, and still went on and did insurance, but did insurance with the attitude of I didn't get the gold. Do you guys get this? With the thought process of I didn't get the gold. And then he would have went into insurance with the thought process of I didn't get the gold, so insurance would not have worked. Does this make sense? But what he did was he said he didn't get the gold. Now this is the key thing. When he found out that someone else got the gold, he didn't get pissed off. He asked himself, why did that other person get the gold and I didn't get the gold? And he took the lesson of his loss or didn't work out into insurance with the attitude of I'm still going after success. What most people do is I didn't get the gold. I'm annoyed that I didn't get the gold. Now I'm taking the attitude of I didn't get the gold into my next deal, into my next relationship, into my next gig, into my next thing. And I'm going to do that thing with the attitude of the last failure. That is where the rubber hits the road.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things that I like is that he says in there, little by little. Mm-hmm. So life is about growing as we go. And there was a 40-year-old, a 60-year-old, and an 80-year-old man. And the 60-year-old said to the 40-year-old, if I knew back then what I knew now, I would be real successful. And the 80-year-old said to the 60-year-old, said, boy, those people that knew what you knew down then, and you wouldn't listen either. So that's the thing sometimes. Are we listening as we're growing in life? And I love what you said, Hayden. You know, I mean, so the things that I thought was the worst things that happened to me turned out to be the best things that happened to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, when I first heard somebody say that, it's like, oh man, you crazy. You know, and the same guy said another thing I like, and that is I choose God as a first choice instead of a last resort. And then the other thing he said I didn't like was, it's better to have bad breath than no breath at all. And I said, that's right too. So, you know, you don't know how you're going to get the message, but the message is going to come as long as you wake up and you got a chance. So I like what you said. Putting that back to Isagenix. I used to always say, oh man, this is the best shake in the world. Well, it's the best shake until they made this one with the Vitamins in it.
And the reality is we don't know it's the best shake. We believe.
I know. I'm just saying.
But I'm saying, but when we get caught into that stuff,
yeah,
right? Then we're caught into that sticky stuff of comparison and proving and whatever. But when you live in vision and thought, I have an idea. This is where I'm going. That is so propelling. That is so attractive. And the other thing is, it's not even up for discussion. This is where I'm going. Do you want to come? This is where I'm taking people. Do you want to come? Right? I remember Susan and Deborah on the phone going, Susan was telling me all sorts of stuff, product, this, that. Deborah got on the phone and said, Susan and I are going to create our own financial freedom. We're going to start living life differently and doing things that we dreamed about. We'd rather do it with you, but we're going to do it without you. Deborah had a vision. I was like, where's she going? And what got me was she had been living her vision out loud. Because remember, this 40-year-old woman rolled up to my house in a BMW convertible and told me she'd been retired for 2 years. And she was just flitting around the world having fun, living out loud. I was like, how on earth could she do that? She had my attention because she was living out loud. But when she came back with a vision, it wasn't, I'm going to go sell shakes, you want to come? It wasn't that people were losing weight on these shakes, you want that too? She knew the vision that would get me. Once she casted it, my no was done. And I've been saying no for 7 days. Once she casted that vision, I was in. And I didn't care about how. I didn't care that I didn't know what to do. I didn't care that I'd never sold anything before. I didn't care that I didn't have time. I didn't care that I didn't have money. Do you guys get this? I did not care because she casted the vision that I wanted. Had nothing to do with the shake. Isagenix was the tool and we were going to use it. And she was going to show me how. So
and I think that's so important what you just stated, because it's what we talk about, but just saying it that way makes us more present, right? It's the vision, but whatever it is you do, whether it's Isagenix, social media, whatever, that's just the tool. That's just the vehicle, you know, that you use to get there. But what people really buy is the vision.
mm-hmm. They buy the vision and they buy the person casting the vision. Those are the two most important things.
Yep.
So, homework, assignment, whatever you guys want to call it. I want you guys to write your vision. Write it out. Now, Tree and I, we've done this. If Fozzie's done it, if you've worked with me, you already have one. Go back, fine tune it. And when I say write your vision, that is pen to paper, Melvin. All right, so pull out your pen. Pull out God's tool, put it to work. I want you to write it in a way where you smell it, taste it, feel it, look at it, dance in it. Tell me what colors, where you're going, what's it look like?
You could smell it.
That's right. Taste it. Like you get excited when you read it yourself. I want you to put it somewhere where you're going to read it on the regular. This is not write your vision and put it down. Second thing I'm going to ask you to do is to write down the character traits of the person and the people that would get that vision. Who are they? Once you do that, you will know who you're looking for, you'll know who you're required to be, and you'll know what you want to start talking about when you're living out loud. right? You know, you see Suzanne, you'll probably be like, that woman gonna post one more picture of her at the beach? But that is my vision. I'm always at the beach. I'm walking, I'm jumping, I'm swimming, I'm watching waves. I'm sitting in front of the beach. I'm dining at the beach. That's my vision. House in the hills overlooking the ocean. The beach is right there. You will see so many posts. A woman's always at the beach. So she has, I'm dreaming about the beach. I'm overlooking the beach. It's always out there. And people always ask me, so where are you? I'm like, I'm home.
Suzanne, I would always get caught up in, when it comes time to write a vision, and get caught up in goals. What's the difference again between my visions and my goals? Because I will get stuck right there between the two.
Great question. So goals are how? Okay. Goals are more sitting how to get there. A vision is an idea. Think of your vision as you painting a picture, right? As you painting a picture that you don't know how you're gonna get it. It's just this juicy picture of what you want. Think of where you wanna live, who you wanna live there with, what you wanna do. Yeah, think of just painting this amazing life 5 years down the road, maybe. You might be traveling the world, visiting every golf course on the planet.
No.
I don't know. All right.
I'd say on that, Anthony, I find a lot of times when I start to think of the goals, it's because I'm afraid of the vision. Because the goals start to tell me that I have something and oh my God, I can't get there. How am I going? So I think if you are looking at goals, if you check a little deeper, it's probably because you're limiting your vision in some way. It's because you're trying to rationalize the vision that, but I can't do that. I think, and that's for me. Let me say it, that's for me, right?
No, that's really well said. For me, it's more that at 66, I have a lot of layers that I have to pull back, and sometimes I lose the distinctions of what we're talking about. So visions being the big picture, it sharpens the distinctions of when I'm looking at that versus how to. I can get caught up in a how to because I'm a fixer. So I can't sometimes be myself. I need to be somebody different to grow bigger than where I'm at. Keep in mind that, I retired when I was 53. And so I set myself up with a lifetime income. Since I was 53, I've developed 4 different sources of income. So I'm not sitting here because I don't have money. I'm sitting here because there's something else I want that's bigger. And I want to push myself and grow beyond my means. When I call up my fellow firefighters and they're retired, oh man, I'm sitting around, I'm chilling, ain't much going on. And I get them off the phone, and things. So I hear you loud and clear. I'll give you an example of distinctions. While we're talking about wins and gratitudes, I just got through golfing with the heads of the AIDS Health Foundation. And it didn't dawn on me that, what, this woman is my 4th time golfing with her. When I walked up, she said, hey, Anthony. That's what she said and things. But yet I haven't put her on my list as a person to follow up with, to develop a relationship, because who comes to the table when she comes to the table? That's a distinction of something I just missed. Her partner she was golfing with was the vice president of marketing for Coca-Cola. And she said, Anthony, we've met before, and I missed that little distinction. Now, Suzanne will talk about who's in your funnel and da-da-da-da-da, and here I am doing these things and just not pay attention, big head boy. It's so sometimes I get caught up in my own head and I put my own blinders on and just don't see what I'm working with in front of me. So sometimes I do well, sometimes I don't. So I'm okay with not being afraid of the goal. It's like something else. And so I have to ask the question. So in here, the power of this room for me is in here. You never make me wrong. You make me, I'm where I am. And so then all of you help me pull back these layers of these confusions that I've spent my whole life putting in place, that some of those things no longer serve me. And that's why I'm gonna stop right there. I'm gonna get off that horse and stop.
I have to jump off the call. That doesn't mean you guys have to stop talking. So I'm just gonna put myself on mute and do whatever. You guys can continue.
I have to jump off too, actually.
But this is the piece. Vision, Anthony. Why vision so important to you is you need to know what that thing is that you're seeking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It could be travel. It's got to be something specific that jazzes you. When you say, I want something more, your brain's going to go, well, that's not exciting. We're not going to do anything about that. I don't know what that is. So you've got to give your mind something it can get locked and loaded about, something it's going to have desire for, something it's going to get passionate about. Cool?
Cool.
All right, I'm going to put myself on mute. I'm
going to stick and stay, Hayden.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
okay. As we were talking, I heard you say, I heard you say, I have this big vision. And my question is, what is it? Because you actually said that. You said, I have this big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went on to stop there. What is it? What is that big thing? What is it that you want? Because you did say, I want this, and it's almost like you gestured like this big thing. And then you started chopping it down. But you never defined what that big thing was. And maybe that's what because if you want it, it's in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But have you hung out with it long enough? Let me put it another way. Have you said, I wanted this big thing, and then leave it way too quick before you characterized it, before you identify what the big thing is? Because, yeah, I heard you say, I want it. I want this big thing. And then you just ran on past it. Maybe you should stick with it for a minute.
That's interesting, Hayden. Or Anthony, I'm just going to add to what Hayden said. Have you told yourself you can't have it?
And for me, it's like the vision is easy to cast because I kind of know what the big thing is. But as Suzanne said, when you get through with the vision, what do you have to do? The goals are work. And so it's good. I can always think about something, but where I get hung up sometimes is putting it into action as far as the goals. So sometimes thinking about the goals I got to do to get to the vision can kind of stop the vision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Melvin. And here's the thing that I found for myself when I first started to put my vision on paper was it wasn't a big vision, because in my mind I was putting down what I thought was achievable, what I thought, I could see how this would come to fruition for me. I could see what I needed to do to create it. But that's not what casting a vision is. Casting a vision is that wild idea that gets you excited, and you have no way in heck knowing the first step to getting there, but it's something that when you think about, it excites you. Whether it's like maybe traveling, or you a specific golf course that you want to go to, because I know you're
maybe
avid on
you want to
golf.
buy.
Yeah.
Maybe golf course you want to buy.
Yeah. Or maybe it's like you just want to become this inspirational speaker, world renowned, it's this wild idea. that when you think about it, you're like, oh my God, and it gives you goosebumps. And you're saying, what if, only if I could. And that's what your vision is. You don't have to know how you're going to get there. You don't have to know how it's going to happen. You just have to have this idea that excites you so much that just the thought of it, it gives you goosebumps. Just the thought of it, you're like, oh my God, how do I get there? That's what your vision is going to be. And when you can get that excited about something, think about this is how Suzanne taught me. Involve all of your senses. So not just like, what is the thing and where are you going to be, but describe the environment around you. Describe it in a way where you can, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you feel? Like all of those things. When you get your senses involved and your emotion involved, that's when you're actually creating.
Also, I also think it could also be, who do you want to be? Like, do you want to be a great mentor? Do you want, like, it's not always a thing that you have to do. Sometimes it's, who do you want to become?
Yeah, like how is it that you want to show up?
Yes. So, you know, like for me, I want huge success, not for the success, but because of who it would make me in my community. I want to be that guy that younger guys can look up to and say, if he can do it, maybe I can too. Right? And that's not a thing, but that's just who I would like to be. So it can also, I mean, it can be being on the beach, but it can also be, who is it that you really, not now you retired at 53, you're like, who do you want to be now? And maybe that's also, that may also be a part of the vision. It's not always, I want to do. How do I become who it is that I want to be? And so I don't know if that's a part of it, but that also came to mind for me too, right?
Yeah.
Who do you want to be?
Yeah. And there's no right or wrong. There's no, it has to be a place or it has to be a thing. Like Hayden's absolutely right. Anything that you desire for yourself, anything that you desire for your life, how do you want to be? How do you want your life to be? Like, where do you want to go? All of these things. Put all of that down. And your first writing, you may not get it. But as you write, things will start to get pulled out from within you. Dreams and things that you may have completely forgotten about will start to emerge. The other thing I wanted to ask you also, because you've mentioned it, is, and I this may or may not be true, but I know for myself it was one of the things that was in my way, was I felt like there was so much unresolved stuff in the back of my mind, like you had mentioned earlier, that it prevented me from even allowing myself to put a vision for myself. And I thought, I have to sort through all of this first before I can put down a vision. And I think it wasn't, the distinction for me was understanding that I could still have a vision for where I want to go and what I want my life to be, even if I have stuff that I still have to work through. I don't have to have that all worked through and worked out before I can allow myself to create a vision for myself and for my life. So that was another piece for me, and it may be for you and it may not be, but I just wanted to bring that up in case if it was. Writing a vision for yourself has nothing to do with anything that's unresolved. It's this idea that you have, that you want to work towards, that you wish that your life could be that. And that's all it is. And then once you get that and you're really clear on it, the things and the people and the way and the how, those things will start to show up as you really focus in and become really clear on where it is you want to go and what you want. It just works that way. It's really cool.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to dig deeper. I'm going to dig deeper, because half the time when it seems like in my head, when I write a vision, there is a price tag associated with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I get hung up at that price tag sometime.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was just telling a friend last week how life has shown up differently because of COVID, and that I canceled a Seattle trip this month for my daughter's birthday. I canceled another trip to Hawaii the end of August. September, I canceled a trip to North Carolina to golf at Pinehurst. October, I canceled a trip to Houston, Dallas, and Austin. I was going to spend 3 weeks in Texas in October. So life is good because these are the things I've canceled. So it's like, okay, so then what's left? So, but those are doingness things. Those are goals. Those are not vision related. The being able to travel was the vision, and travel first class was the vision. I just have some work to do. That's the bottom line. I have some work to do, and then don't make myself wrong in the process of doing the work. Did I hit it?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm hearing so far.
Yeah, and you said money was the thing that kind of held you back, right? Because you thought about the price tag that was attached to it. So when you're doing your vision, because it's not always money for everyone. For some people, it's health, right? Like for some people, it's health. Like their health wouldn't allow them to climb a mountain. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that can't be a vision that they have for themselves, right? The thing is, when you write your vision, money is of no object, health is not the issue. Like, just what is it that you desire? What is it that you desire? Write that. And as you're writing that, things will start to emerge and so things will start to come up. And don't worry about how, don't worry about can I afford it, don't worry about my health right now doesn't allow it. None of that is to be a hindrance. That's not what you're looking at. You're not trying to find a solution in this. You're just writing down what you want. Everything else will show up later.
If you add a price tag, you've already limited yourself.
There you go.
If you add a price tag, if you're thinking of your vision and there's a price tag attached to it, you've limited yourself. And you've blocked off a chunk of the vision, because what you're saying is, okay, I can only go as far as this price tag. That's why, to me, that's why the price tag is there. So if you have a vision and you see the price tag, you've darkened the room. And I don't think there's a way around that.
I'm going to work with that. I have my 100 goals written here. I'm going to rewrite them in just a neater form. You know, they were handwritten. I'm going to type them up and see what comes out of that, because there's sometimes those goals, that's is there something, the vision, is there vision in those goals? Because I literally have 100 things that I wrote down. 30 of them are places to golf, but
I think the vision has to be one big thing. It may encompass all your goals.
I'm going to stop you with that one. No, I'm going to stop you with that one, because my favorite Bible verse is Ecclesiastes 11, verse 6.
Guys, I'm sorry, I got to jump off. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the time.
All right. Take care.
So, and the only reason I'm going to stop you there is because it says, sow your seed in the morning, and in the evening let your hands not be idle. So for you not to know which will succeed, whether this or that, or whether both will do equally well. Hold on, I'm starting in the wrong place. When I start out with 1, it says invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land. So chapter 11, verses 1 through 6 is a relief for me, because as I've gone through life, there are many people who have said, oh, you can't have that, or you can't do this, or you can't do that, or you can only stick with one thing, where one thing wasn't it wasn't the thing. No, that's not what I want to say. It didn't take all of me to do the one thing. You know what I mean? Let me put it this way. I want to break 80 on the golf course. Okay, I want to break 80. Well, I can go to a municipal golf course and break 80, and then I can go to the Industry Hills where I golfed at on Saturday, and I shot a 101. But that was a place where they held the LPGA, and the course was too difficult that the Professional Ladies Golf Association said, we ain't never coming back here. So it's a question of skill levels, right? The point I'm trying to make is that I can want that kind of thing, and I can practice 2-3 hours a day, 4 hours a day to get there, which is what I'm not doing. I would practice 1 hour a day and then go about my business. But then let's say I do practice 4 hours a day. Now what? Let's say if I practice 5 hours a day, now what? And even if it's 8 hours a day and I slept 8 hours a day, now what? See, I've been set free from having to labor for someone else. So the question is, when it comes to my goal setting, now what? Most people want to get free. They want to, so I have 2 incomes now. I had 3, one just came to an end. But I was selling dollars for hours still. And so I want to get away from the dollars from the hours. And so that's why I let that 3rd income go. You know, the other 2 are not attached. If I don't get out of bed, I have the other 2 incomes. That is a success. That's what most people are trying to get to. Now I'm trying to increase the size of that ability to not get out of bed, if this makes sense. Okay.
That makes sense. That makes sense because that's not what I heard at first, but that now it makes sense. Yeah. Because at first I heard, well, you know, I've already created stuff where, you know, finance is not a problem for me. But, you know, what Suzanne was saying, I think, is why go back and look at your goals, cast your vision, and then go create the goals to get the vision. And when you say that you're putting a tag on it with money or whatever you said, that was contradictory a little bit to what you said before, that you'd already arrived. So forget the price tag. That's why I say buy a golf course. Buy a $5 million golf course if that's what you wanted to be your vision, right?
Right.
And the
right.
how, just like we said in all those chapters, will come later. You know, your vision might be, you know, training a bunch of guys like you did the young man that came to stay with you, creating a place where they could all come, you know, and training them, you know, young black boys or young boys, period, you know.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot all about that. But I think Hayden is really onto something here when I back engineer where I'm at, and I have to go in and dig and really dig down and ask myself the hard question, Hayden, thank you very much, is there a price tag attached to the visions? So the goals, when I lay out the goals, I will look at those and go, okay, so, you know, this set will cost me this set will cost me that, this set will cost me this. That may be taking place subconsciously. And so I have to, again, you've heard me say it, I need to pull back the layers, you know, and start understanding the distinctions. You know, hey, Melvin, when you refer to the young man I just assisted, you know, in my mind, you know, there was just a need. Oh, this young man needs some mentorship. This young man needs this is, you know, and so that's what I did, but it wasn't that fit into any great plan. Okay, that didn't fit into any vision I had. That was just something I saw, and I have the tools in which to do something about it. You know, I don't want to see something that needs to be done and then I'm gonna leave it up to somebody else to get it done when I have the tools to get it done. For example, I tease people about Black Lives Matter. and about all this protesting that takes place. And I tell them, listen, I'm too old to go out there and protest. I'm not going to suck down anybody's gas or anything like that. But I do want to write a check so that they can go buy all the signs they need and hold them up. You know, if things, I want to provide them with all the sticks that they need to hold them up. But I don't want to go out there and walk 10 miles in the sun and hold up the stick. So, yeah, those are the things that run through my head and how it runs through my head. So again, I appreciate everybody on this call, because it's an environment in which I don't have to be perfect, and I get to work out these things. Because, you know, my sister says all the time, she says, you know, bruh, you know, there's a bunch of us, 8 out of 10 of us, that are trying to be where you're at. Okay. Because I know I'm no longer motivated by a bigger house. I'm no longer motivated. I just went shopping for a car, and I go, you know, I've had 3 Mercedes, you know, will another S-Class do something for me? No. Will another, you know, I wouldn't look at a guy's Corvette, and I go, well, I got a Corvette in the garage I don't drive, you know, that's 20 years old, and it's in great shape, and it only has 89,000 miles on it. If I got a brand new one, other than the first 30,000 miles, would I drive it anymore? Not really. So why do I want to put my money and effort into that? My lease is up on my Camry, and I'm just happy with my Camry. And so I went to go look at another car, and I go, this looks just like what I have. Why am I buying another car when I can just go ahead and pay this one off? And maybe as a goal, so see, that's a goal, right? A goal is, you know, pay off the Camry. It's only 3 years old. I've had 4 leased vehicles in a row. Maybe not having another car note is that a goal or a vision? See, so to me that shows up as a goal, but it doesn't cast the vision. You know, my accountant, when I talk to him, he says, hey, Penn, it doesn't matter. He says, either you pay the taxes or you buy, or you go lease a new car. Which one do you want? You know, it goes, he said, whichever, just let me know. He says, because if you don't lease a car, you don't have the write-off. You don't have the write-off, you pay more taxes and things, and you drive an older car. So now, what is that telling me? Okay, what is my motivation behind the decision-making process? Okay, and things. Today I'm going to pull out X amount of silver, and I'm going to go sell it because, and I don't even know how much it is, but it's going to be something like, you know, 100 to 150 ounces of silver, and I'm going to go sell it, and then I'm going to take the money and put it into my brokerage account, because I'm going to go buy Apple, because Apple is going up, and they're going to split at the end of the month. So I just want to be ahead of the curve, you know, where before I no longer want to be, oh, I should have did this, you know, because how much of our life would go, we had the vision, we had the, you know, this is what I'm going to do, but then we don't do it, and then we look back and go, God, I should have did that thing. I should have trusted my intuition. Yeah. See, so now I'm living into my intuition, because I'm holding on. What was I holding on to the silver for? Is to have some financial options, right? So since I only got X amount of cash to invest in the stock market, well, why am I holding on to the silver? Well, as the stock market goes up and commodities go up, then real estate should be going down. So if real estate's not going down and commodities going up and the stock market is going up, one of these financial indicators is telling a lie. And so which one's telling a lie? It's going to correct itself. Oh, Hayden, we lost Hayden. Yeah. Well, it's telling a lie. So you see how I get caught up? You know?
Well, we all get caught up if we go around a circle, you know.
Yeah.
Making a decision is, one guy say, you know how you make a decision? Mm-hmm. And the other guy goes, drop your keys. And he went, and it took him a while to drop it. He said, that's not making a decision. That's making a decision. You just drop it, you know. But like he said, you know, second guessing ourselves. But one of the things I liked about that chapter, and have you read that chapter? Yeah.
Which one?
In the book that we're reading. Chapter
no,
1.
I read the introduction, and then I got
one of the things about chapter 1 is it talks more about your experiences. And like I said, being 66, you're getting a lot of experiences.
Yeah.
And yeah, those experiences are coming down to choices that you can make. And it's great to be able to make a choice and go back and make another choice, you know? Yeah, my friend that's 88, he used to always say what they're saying in chapter 1 is little by little. Very smart man, mathematician, but now he has Alzheimer's. But you know what he says now? Little by slow.
Little by slow.
And he used to, his sister always said that because he always said little by little, you know, which was a great, you know, deal in 1937, 1930. But
well, I know this.
Now he's going slow.
I know this. If I hold on to something with a clenched fist,
right,
my hand is not open to receive.
Right.
Whatever blessings are coming my way.
Right. Right.
So I have to. So like this silver is a good example because that's dealing with that today. You know, I created this on Friday that I'm going to do this today, and things. And so to take a commodity that's worth X amount of dollars and trust it into the stock market. Because I'm trusting that I'm going to buy, and I don't even know what
Microsoft. I mean Apple.
Apple. I don't even know what it's selling at because normally I would have been in the market by 6:30, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. So it's at 448 currently. It opened up at a high at 455, and then so it does what it's supposed to do, and so it's dropped, so it's ticking its way back up. So and then by the afternoon, when trading slows down, it's going to be another lower price than 448. So I may be able to get in between 440, 445. Here's the point: I have been spending a year learning how to do the stock market because it was out there. I want to learn the stock market, so I signed up with a company. It's going to be my third income that's not tied into my hours.
Right.
You know, so the vision was to eliminate to eliminate incomes tied into selling dollars for hours, selling hours for dollars. Is that a goal or was that a vision? You see what I'm saying?
No, no, I mean, that could be a vision. It could be a goal. How do you get to it? But the vision is you want to create where you're not spending time for dollars. You want to create avenues for that. That's the vision. The goal might come in through the stock market. The goal might come in through Isagenix. And then it goes down to smaller goals where it says, well, what do I have to do to create that for Isagenix? Well, I need to do at least 60 minutes a day at my desk, making calls, following up. So I'll say today, take 60 minutes and create and cast a vision of what you want your life to be, what you want the rest of the 100 years you have left or whatever to be. And even after you're gone, what do you want your life to be like? That could be part of your vision. What do you want to leave here? You know? So look at spending an hour a day to create that and smell it and taste it and whatever, you know? Yeah. And be bodacious with it. I mean, that's what I'm doing. I mean, I put $250,000 per child. That's over $1.5 million. It can be very easily accomplished in Isagenix. So what I'm going to do is link my legacy with their legacy platform. But it's my legacy platform, you know. So
I'm sorry, you're going to do $250,000 what per child?
Per grandchild.
Do what?
That's what I want to leave them.
Oh, that's what you want to leave them.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I want them to have. I don't want to be gone when they have it. That's what I want them
your grandchildren?
at a certain age. That's what I want them to have when they get a certain age, probably around 25 to 30.
How old are your grandchildren?
The youngest one is going to be 3, and the oldest is 22.
You're gonna have fun. You're gonna have fun with that because as you set up that legacy, I can see it. Now, it's interesting how we can see for other people what they want to see for themselves. We can see it so easily in things, but the distinction is it's caught up in my languaging, and you separated out two things so effortlessly. It's like you was just, you were just effortless in changing in the distinctions between what was my vision and what was my goal. And things where that simple thing you said, that the vision was eliminating incomes tied into hours that I've worked.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how much the price tag is. Price tag is not important. Just look, a butcher that we know that's on our team have made 70-some million bucks, him and his family, in the last 19 years. A butcher.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I gotta run, but I love you, my man.
Thank you, bro.
Hey, hey, I can't wait to hear that vision because you always are articulating in such a great fashion. And I'll close with this. I saw a fireman I told you about, and I told him about you. So we'll get you guys on the phone in the next week or two. I just want that, you know, both interesting guys in the same field. You know, you were in the field, and you never leave it, probably. So.
It comes all the way back around sometime. It's just part of who we are and things. And yeah. All right, man.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Time.
All right, man. See you now.
All right. Peace.
Peace.